My sisters, listen carefully. You were created with wisdom, strength, and purpose. You were never meant to be broken, used, or diminished. The world may try to confuse you, to tell you that your worth is found in pleasing others, in chasing after love, or in lowering your standards. But today you must rise in truth. There are things you should never do, things that will steal your peace, weaken your spirit, and pull you away from your divine calling. 1. Never lower your standards for temporary affection. You are precious, you are chosen. Do not settle for less than you deserve, just because you fear being alone. The right one will see your worth and honor it. Do not trade your values for temporary love, for love that is not built on truth will crumble like sand. Stand firm in who you are, and the right people will rise to meet you. 2. Never give your heart to someone who disrespects you. A woman of faith and purpose should never allow herself to be mistreated. If someone speaks to you with dishonor, if they do not value your kindness, if they play with your emotions, do not stay in that place. You are not meant to be broken by toxic words or manipulated by empty promises. Walk away from anything that diminishes the light within you. 3. Never sacrifice your purpose for someone else's approval. You were placed on this earth with a calling. Do not shrink yourself to fit into someone else's expectations. Do not let anyone convince you that your dreams, your vision, or your faith should be silenced. A true connection will never require you to lose yourself. Stand firm in your purpose, and the right people will walk alongside you, not against you. 4. Never ignore red flags because of emotions. Many have fallen because they ignored the warnings. My sister, if you see signs of deceit, dishonor, or disloyalty, do not close your eyes and hope for change. Wisdom will save you from heartbreak. Do not let emotions blind you to the truth. Walk in discernment, and you will be protected from unnecessary pain. 5. Never forget your worth. You are a daughter of strength, clothed with dignity and grace. The moment you forget your worth, you allow the world to dictate how you should be treated. You are not an afterthought, not a second choice, not an option to be played with. Know who you are. Walk with confidence, love with wisdom, and never let anyone make you feel less than the powerful, purpose-filled woman you are created to be. Rise up, my sister. You are worthy of respect, love, and honor. Walk in truth, and you will never be led astray. Amen. You are more valuable than you realize. Too many women give away their worth piece by piece, all because they fear being alone, fear being unloved, or fear missing out on something they think they need. But what they fail to see is that the very thing they are chasing is already within them. You do not need to lower yourself to be loved. You do not need to shrink your standards to fit into someone else's life. Love that requires you to compromise your values is not love, it is deception. Love that demands you to become less than who you were created to be is not love, it is bondage. The world teaches women that they must settle. It whispers lies that tell you, if you don't take what's in front of you, you'll never have anything better. But that is not truth. Truth says that patience produces blessings. Truth says that waiting on what is right will always be better than rushing into what is wrong. Yet so many ignore this wisdom. They see red flags, but they convince themselves that things will change. They hear words of manipulation, but they choose to believe the empty promises. They stay in places they were never meant to stay because they think that leaving would mean losing love. But, my sister, what you are afraid of losing is not love, because real love does not require you to lose yourself. Lowering your standards may bring you temporary comfort, but it will cost you long-term peace. There is a heavy price to pay when you accept less than what you deserve. The moment you compromise, you open the door to pain that could have been avoided. The moment you settle, you invite in heartache that was never meant for you. You cannot build something strong on a weak foundation. A relationship that begins with compromise will require you to continue compromising. It starts small. You tolerate a little disrespect. You ignore a little dishonor. You overlook behaviors that go against your values. But over time, those little compromises become chains that bind you. You wake up one day and realize that you have lost yourself trying to hold on to something that was never meant for you. And why? Because the fear of being alone is greater than the faith to wait for something better. But do you not know that your waiting is not in vain? Do you not see that patience is a test of faith? When you lower your standards, you tell yourself that you are not worthy of more. You tell yourself that what is in front of you is the best you can get. But that is a lie. The best is never found in desperation. The best is never found in settling. The best is always found in patience, in trusting that what is meant for you will never require you to beg, to plead, or to prove your worth. A woman who knows her value does not chase love, she attracts it. A woman who understands her worth does not settle for inconsistency, for disrespect, or for someone who cannot meet her at the level of her calling. She does not entertain those who play games with her heart. She does not waste time trying to change someone who has already shown her who they are. She knows that true love is built on mutual respect, on honor, and on shared vision. And if someone cannot meet her there, she is not afraid to walk away. But too many women live in fear. Fear tells them that if they do not take what is in front of them, they will be left with nothing. Fear tells them that waiting is too risky, that patience is too painful. But what is more painful? Waiting for what is right, or living in regret for choosing what is wrong? What is more difficult? Trusting in the process, or spending years trying to repair the damage of settling? When you lower your standards, you give someone permission to treat you beneath your worth. You teach them that they do not need to honor you, that they do not need to respect your boundaries. And once you lower your standards, it becomes harder and harder to raise them again. You become trapped in a cycle of giving more than you receive, of loving more than you are loved, of trying to prove yourself when love was never meant to be earned. But you are not meant for that life. You are not meant to be in a place where you feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. You are meant for more. But if you do not believe that, you will continue to accept less. And the more you accept, the harder it becomes to break free. The more you compromise, the more you convince yourself that this is all you are worth. But that is not truth. The truth is that you were created for something greater. The truth is that love, real love, will never ask you to lower yourself to be accepted. So, my sister, I ask you, what are you holding on to that is keeping you from what you truly deserve? What fear is making you stay in places you were never meant to stay? What lie has convinced you that settling is better than waiting? If you are afraid to let go, then you must ask yourself, why? Why do you think you are not worthy of more? Why do you believe that walking away means losing? The only thing you will lose by walking away from the wrong thing is pain, confusion, and regret. But what you will gain is peace, clarity, and the opportunity to receive what is truly meant for you. You must believe that you are worth more than momentary affection. You must believe that temporary comfort is not worth permanent heartbreak. Do not be deceived. What is meant for you will never require you to change who you are just to be loved. True love will meet you where you are, honor you, respect you, and walk with you in purpose. But if you settle, you may never experience the fullness of what was truly meant for you. So choose wisely, guard your heart, know your worth, and never lower your standards for temporary affection. Your heart is precious. It is the wellspring of your soul, the core of your emotions, and the place where love, trust, and hope reside. But too many women give their hearts to those who do not honor them, to those who speak with sweet words but act with dishonor, to those who pretend to love yet bring nothing but pain. This is one of the greatest mistakes a woman can make, entrusting her heart to someone who does not respect her. Respect is the foundation of love. Without it, love is an illusion, a lie wrapped in momentary passion, a trap disguised as affection. Many women ignore the signs. They hear words of insult, but they brush them aside. They feel the sting of neglect, but they excuse it. They see the lack of care, the lack of kindness, the lack of honor, yet they convince themselves that love can grow in such an environment. But love does not exist where respect is absent. Love cannot thrive where dishonor is present. The moment a woman allows herself to be disrespected, she begins to lose pieces of herself. It does not happen all at once. It is slow, subtle. A careless word here, a dismissive action there. At first, she may speak up, she may push back, she may say, "I deserve better." But as time passes, if she stays in that place, she starts to doubt. She starts to wonder if maybe this is normal, if maybe this is just how relationships are, if maybe she is asking for too much. But she is not asking for too much. She is asking for what is right, what is just, what is fair. No woman should ever give her heart to someone who does not see her as valuable. If a man does not cherish the heart he has been given, he will abuse it, whether through words, actions, or neglect. A woman who stays in such a place will find herself drained, depleted, and questioning her own worth. She will wonder why she no longer smiles the way she used to, why her confidence has faded, why she feels like a shadow of the woman she once was. And the answer will always be the same, because she allowed disrespect to remain where honor should have been demanded. Respect is not a luxury, it is a requirement. It is not something that should be begged for or earned. It is something that should be freely given in any relationship that claims to be built on love. But many women are taught that they must prove themselves worthy of love, that they must endure hardship to receive affection, that they must tolerate mistreatment because no one is perfect. But there is a difference between imperfection and abuse. There is a difference between patience and self-destruction. A woman who constantly forgives disrespect is not being strong, she is being deceived. Strength is not enduring mistreatment, strength is walking away from it. Some women believe they can change the one who disrespects them. They believe that if they love enough, if they give enough, if they are patient enough, then one day that person will see their worth and begin to treat them differently. But this is not how respect works. A person who does not honor you today will not suddenly learn to honor you tomorrow. A person who speaks down to you, who disregards your feelings, who makes you feel small, this is a person who has already decided how much you are worth in their eyes. And if they do not see your worth now, they never will. Staying will not change them. Accepting their behavior will not make them love you more. The only thing it will do is teach them that they can continue to dishonor you without consequence. A woman's heart is not a toy to be played with, not an object to be handled carelessly. It is a gift. But when a woman gives her heart to someone who disrespects her, she is placing something sacred in unworthy hands. And the longer she stays, the harder it becomes to leave. The longer she accepts disrespect, the more she convinces herself that maybe this is all she is, but she is worth more. She was created for more, and she does not have to live in a place where she is unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. Respect is shown in actions, not just words. A person can say, "I love you," yet show dishonor in everything they do. A person can say, "I care about you," yet neglect your needs and dismiss your voice. Words mean nothing if they are not followed by truth. A woman must look at the actions, not just listen to the words, because words can be deceptive, but actions will always reveal what is truly in a person's heart. If a man loves you, he will respect you. If he values you, he will treat you with honor. If he truly cherishes you, you will never have to question your worth in his presence. But too often, women allow their emotions to blind them to reality. They hold on to memories of good times, moments when things seemed perfect, moments when love felt real. They tell themselves that those moments define the relationship, rather than the consistent pattern of disrespect that keeps appearing. But love is not built on moments. Love is built on consistency. And if the consistency is disrespect, dishonor, and disregard, then there is no real love. A woman who allows disrespect is a woman who is slowly losing herself. At first she may fight back, she may try to explain why the words hurt, why the actions are wrong. But over time, if she stays, she will begin to accept it. She will begin to believe that maybe she is too emotional, maybe she is overreacting, maybe she is expecting too much. And that is where the danger lies. Because once a woman begins to question her own value, once she starts believing that she must endure disrespect to keep love, she has already lost the battle. She has already begun to fade into someone she was never meant to be. But she does not have to stay in that place. She does not have to continue giving her heart to someone who does not treat it with care. She has the power to walk away. She has the power to say, "I am worth more than this." And when she does, she will find freedom. She will find peace. She will find the love she was truly meant to have, the kind of love that does not require her to sacrifice her dignity, her joy, or her self-respect. No woman should ever give her heart to someone who disrespects her, because the moment she does, she is handing over her power. But the moment she walks away, she is reclaiming it. You were created with a purpose. From the moment you took your first breath, there was a calling over your life, a destiny set before you. But too many women abandon their purpose in the pursuit of someone else's approval. They silence their dreams to fit into another person's expectations. They shrink themselves to make someone else comfortable. They walk away from the very thing that makes them unique, all because they believe love, acceptance, or validation requires sacrifice. But the truth is, any love that demands you to give up your purpose is not love. It is control. Any connection that requires you to lose yourself is not divine. It is a distraction. Many women start with dreams burning in their hearts. They have passions, goals, and a deep sense of who they are meant to be. But then someone comes along, someone whose words sound sweet, someone who offers attention, someone who gives the illusion of love, and little by little they begin to change, not in a way that strengthens them, but in a way that diminishes them. They stop speaking up the way they used to. They start making themselves smaller to avoid conflict. They begin choosing peace over purpose, comfort over calling. They tell themselves, if I just adjust, if I just bend a little more, if I just give up this one thing, then maybe I will be loved, maybe I will be accepted. And before they know it, they have lost sight of the woman they once were. But you were not created to live for someone else's approval. You were not placed on this earth to mold yourself into what others want you to be. Your purpose is not an option, it is your assignment, and anything that pulls you away from it is a test, a challenge, a moment where you must decide whether you will choose obedience to your calling or submission to another person's opinion. Because make no mistake, when you sacrifice your purpose for someone else's approval, you are not just giving up a dream, you are giving up a part of yourself. And the longer you live outside of your true calling, the more lost you will feel. Some women spend years trying to gain the approval of others. They say yes when they want to say no. They agree to things that do against their spirit. They stay in relationships that do not align with their values. And all the while, their soul is screaming for freedom. But they ignore it because the fear of rejection is greater than the pain of staying stuck. But what they do not realize is that the greatest rejection is rejecting themselves. The greatest loss is losing who you were meant to be for the sake of pleasing someone else. A woman who knows her purpose cannot be controlled. A woman who walks boldly in her calling cannot be manipulated. But when a woman forgets who she is, when she abandons her purpose for the sake of someone else's comfort, she becomes easy to sway, easy to silence, easy to break. She becomes dependent on the approval of others because she no longer has confidence in her own voice. And that is exactly where the enemy wants her. Unsure, insecure, and powerless. Because a woman who knows her purpose is dangerous. She is unshakable, unstoppable, unmovable. She does not waste time trying to gain approval because she already knows who she is. She does not settle for less than she deserves because she understands her value. She does not apologize for her calling because she knows it was given to her for a reason. But too many women are afraid of what will happen if they step fully into their purpose. They fear they will lose relationships. They fear they will be misunderstood. They fear they will stand alone. But what they do not see is that the right people will never require them to shrink. The right people will never ask them to choose between love and purpose. The right people will celebrate their calling, not compete with it. They will encourage their growth, not hinder it. And if someone cannot handle the fullness of who you are, they were never meant to be part of your destiny. So many women waste years trying to fit into a mold they were never meant to be in. They change their voice, their dreams, their passions, all to gain approval from people who do not even see their worth. But what happens when you give up everything just to be accepted, only to realize that the acceptance was never real? What happens when you wake up one day and realize that the person you became to please others is not the person you were meant to be? What happens when you finally see that in the process of trying to be loved, you lost yourself? The price of sacrificing your purpose is far too high. It costs you your identity, your joy, your fulfillment. It leaves you feeling empty, wondering why, even in the presence of people, you still feel alone. Because no amount of human approval can fill the void left behind when you abandon your calling. No relationship, no friendship, no worldly success can replace the deep sense of peace that comes from knowing you are walking in your purpose. If you find yourself constantly seeking validation, constantly molding yourself to fit into someone else's expectations, constantly questioning your worth because someone does not approve of your dreams, it is time to wake up. It is time to realize that your purpose is not up for negotiation. It is time to remember that you were not created to be liked by everyone, but to fulfill the assignment placed on your life. And if that means standing alone for a season, then so be it. If that means losing relationships that cannot handle your growth, then so be it. Because nothing you lose in the pursuit of your purpose is a true loss. What is meant for you will never require you to become less. What is destined for you will never ask you to betray yourself. It is better to stand alone in purpose than to be surrounded by people who only love you when you are small. It is better to walk away from what does not serve you than to stay in places that drain you. Because at the end of your life, you will not be judged by how many people approved of you. You will not be measured by how well you pleased others. You will be measured by whether or not you fulfilled your calling, by whether or not you had the courage to be who you were created to be. No one else has to understand your purpose. No one else has to approve of your calling. The only thing that matters is whether you are walking in obedience to what has been placed inside of you. Because the truth is, people's opinions change. Their approval is temporary, their validation is fleeting, but your purpose is eternal. And if you trade something eternal for something temporary, you will always end up empty. You were not created to be a people pleaser. You were not created to live in fear of rejection. You were created to stand boldly, to walk confidently, to embrace your calling without hesitation. And if someone cannot handle the weight of your purpose, let them go. If someone tries to silence your voice, walk away. If someone makes you feel like you must choose between love and destiny, choose destiny every time. Because the right love, the right people, the right opportunities will never ask you to give up who you are. They will never ask you to sacrifice the very thing that makes you unique. So do not waste another moment trying to gain approval that does not matter. Do not spend another day trying to prove your worth to those who cannot see it. Do not allow fear to keep you from walking in the fullness of your calling. You were made for more. You were made to shine. You were made to walk in purpose, without apology, without fear, without compromise. And the moment you stop living for the approval of others, the moment you decide that your purpose is greater than their opinions, that is the moment you will step into true freedom. Emotions can be one of the most beautiful yet dangerous things in life. They have the power to elevate, to inspire, to connect, but they also have the power to blind, to deceive, to trap. Too many women fall into the trap of ignoring red flags because their emotions tell them, "This feels good right now," instead of listening to the wisdom that warns them, "This will cost you later." Emotions can cloud judgment, making what is dangerous seem safe, making what is harmful seem acceptable, making what is temporary seem eternal. But no matter how strong the emotions are, ignoring red flags will never make them disappear. Suppressing the truth will never change the reality. Just because you choose not to see the warning signs does not mean they are not there. Just because you silence the voice inside of you telling you to walk away does not mean the danger is not real. Many women find themselves in situations where they saw the signs from the very beginning. They felt the discomfort, they noticed the inconsistencies, they heard the words that did not align with actions. But instead of confronting the truth, they covered it with excuses. Instead of listening to wisdom, they followed their emotions. Instead of choosing what was best for their future, they clung to what felt good in the moment, and the result is always the same: pain, regret, disappointment. A red flag is not just a warning, it is a gift. It is a sign given to you to protect you from something that will eventually harm you. It is an opportunity to make a decision before the damage is too great, before the scars are too deep, before the heartbreak becomes unbearable. But too many women mistake red flags for challenges they must overcome. They believe that if they love enough, if they give enough, if they are patient enough, then the problems will disappear. But red flags do not disappear. They only grow stronger when ignored. The heart can be deceitful when it is not guided by wisdom. Feelings will tell you, give it one more chance, when wisdom is saying, you've already seen enough. Emotions will say, maybe this time will be different, when reality is showing you that nothing has changed. Hope will whisper, hold on, when every sign around you is telling you to let go. But ignoring red flags does not make a situation better, it only makes the fall harder. The longer you stay, the more attached you become. The more excuses you make, the more difficult it becomes to walk away. The deeper you invest, the more painful it is when the truth finally demands to be acknowledged. Some women convince themselves that they are being too harsh, too quick to judge, too fearful of love. They tell themselves that everyone has flaws, that no one is perfect, that they must be willing to accept shortcomings. And while it is true that no one is perfect, there is a difference between imperfection and a pattern of behavior that leads to destruction. A mistake is one thing, but a consistent lack of respect is another. A disagreement is one thing, but a pattern of dishonesty is another. A difficult moment is one thing, but a toxic environment is another. There are women who stay in relationships where they are not honored, where they are not valued, where they are not treated with love and kindness, all because their emotions have convinced them that leaving is too painful. But what is more painful? Walking away now, or spending years trying to fix something that was never meant to be fixed? What is more damaging? Choosing wisdom now, or ignoring the truth until it breaks you? A woman who ignores red flags is a woman who is choosing temporary comfort over long-term peace. She is choosing the illusion of love over the reality of self-respect. She is choosing to close her eyes to what she already knows deep inside her heart. But no matter how tightly she holds on, the truth will always rise. The truth will always make itself known. And when it does, she will realize that she could have saved herself so much pain if she had just listened sooner. Red flags come in many forms. Sometimes they are obvious: disrespect, dishonesty, manipulation. Other times they are subtle: a feeling in your spirit that something is not right, a discomfort you cannot explain, a moment of hesitation before you say yes when everything inside you wants to say no. But no matter how they appear, they must be acknowledged. Because a red flag is not just about the present. It is a glimpse into the future. It is showing you a path that will lead to more pain, more confusion, more disappointment. And if you ignore it, you are choosing that future for yourself. Many women stay in situations that are beneath them because they are afraid of being alone. They would rather hold on to something unhealthy than face the unknown. They would rather endure disrespect than walk in solitude. But loneliness is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Staying in a situation that steals your joy, your peace, your self-worth is far worse. Walking away from something unhealthy is not a loss, it is a victory. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is wisdom. Trusting the red flags and making the decision to leave is not weakness, it is strength. Some women ignore red flags because they believe in potential. They see what a person could be rather than who they actually are. They fall in love with the version of a person that exists in their imagination rather than accepting the reality of who stands before them. But potential is not enough. You cannot build a future on who someone might become. You cannot sacrifice your heart for a promise that has never been fulfilled. A person's potential does not erase their current behavior. Who they are today matters. How they treat you now matters. What they consistently show you matters. And if they are showing you red flags, believe them. There are no exceptions when it comes to red flags. They do not disappear with time. They do not fade with love. They do not change with effort. A person will either rise to the standard of honor and respect, or they will continue in their ways. And if they continue in their ways, it is not your job to fix them. It is not your responsibility to make someone love you correctly. It is not your duty to heal what only they can heal within themselves. Your responsibility is to protect your heart, to guard your spirit, to walk away from what does not align with your worth. Many women, after ignoring red flags for too long, finally reach a breaking point. They finally wake up to the truth, and when they do, they look back and see every moment they should have walked away. They remember every sign they dismissed. They recall every time their intuition warned them, and they wish they had listened sooner. But wisdom is not just about learning from your own pain. It is about choosing to avoid unnecessary pain in the first place. It is about trusting that you do not need to experience destruction to know that something is dangerous. You do not need to be broken to understand that something is harmful. You do not need to endure suffering just to prove that you loved. The strongest women are not the ones who endure the most pain. They are the ones who recognize danger before it has the chance to break them. They are the ones who trust their instinct, who listen to wisdom, who walk away before the damage is done. They are the ones who do not let emotions overpower truth, because emotions change, but the truth remains the same. What you feel today may not be what you feel tomorrow, but the reality of red flags will always be constant. So do not ignore the signs. Do not let emotions deceive you into staying where you were never meant to be. Do not silence the voice inside you that is telling you to walk away, because one day you will look back on this moment and you will either be grateful that you listened or regretful that you did not. Choose wisdom over emotions. Choose truth over temporary comfort. Choose yourself over a situation that was never meant for you.